Okay, I've joked in the past about filming in windy locations, but if I just step out from my shelter, it's quite bad. So we'll see how it goes. I'm Peter Austin, sheltering behind an ancient standing stone, very on brand, I think. That is Duddo 5 Stone's stone circle, if I can show it without... Okay, there we go. And this is interesting. But I should immediately emphasise the fact that the stone circle we're talking about today, one owned by James Corden, is not the one I'm standing in right now. The one owned by James Corden is hundreds of miles away, and also on land owned by James Corden, so I couldn't exactly go and stand there. I thought I should just spell that out before any of my northeastern viewers get very upset thinking that James Corden has bought Duddo 5 Stones without telling anyone. He hasn't. I'm just here because it looks nice. There you go. Oh, look at that. So with that out of the way, now we can discuss the stones that are owned by James Corden, because let me tell you, that's a tale that is somehow even better and worse than it sounds. Here are the facts about James Corden's stone circle. 5 years ago, in December 2020, British comedian, actor and former host of The Late Late Show, James Corden, spent an estimated £8 million on a mansion in Henley-on-Thames known as Temple Combe House, a rather interesting 1960s Art Deco building. Unfortunately for him though, locals were soon up in arms about the purchase, having discovered that he intended to completely tear down the unique structure and replace it with a brand new house. But the potential loss of that 60s architecture was actually only the first of their objections. As well as the Art Deco mansion, his extensive plot included something far older and seemingly a lot more culturally significant, a Grade 2 listed monument known variously as the Druid Temple, the Druid's Temple, or the Druid's Altar, which also appeared to be under threat by his plans to build an adjacent luxury pool house and leisure area. Oh, I do try and be neutral in these videos where possible, but I'm starting to struggle now. Where did you spend your last milestone birthday? I celebrated my 30th in the inner circle of Stonehenge, grinning like a kid at Disneyland. I just like old stones, you know. But therein lies the first twist in our tale, because as it turns out, though the monument in Henley is made up of old stones, the situation isn't quite as cut and dry as it first appears. For a start, the name the Druid's Temple is actually a bit deceptive if you're not up on your ancient history. There are numerous stones, both natural and erected by man, throughout Britain that use that title or something similar, but it's not at all an accurate moniker. You see, while it's certainly true that modern neo-pagan druids can be seen gathering at ancient sites such as Stonehenge, especially at this time of year, there's actually little to no evidence connecting such monuments with the original druids encountered by the ancient Romans on their arrival to Britain. Stonehenge, for example, was already thousands of years old by that time, so while it is possible that the ancient Iron Age druids could have visited prehistoric stone circles and appreciated them in much the same way that we do today, they certainly didn't build them, and we also have no direct evidence of them using them as temples. Names like the Druid's Temple are in fact modern inventions attached to the sites either by misinformed antiquarians or simply by locals who wanted to add a touch of mystique to a nearby landmark. Secondly, calling the monument on Corden's land a stone circle, as people often do, is also a bit dubious. You see, there are various different types of megalithic structure in Britain and around the world. Megalith simply means large stone, and so actually refers to all sorts of places that happen to feature big slabs of rock, from individual standing stones or monoliths to cairns, cists, dolmens, and others. Now, yes, the Druid's Temple in Henley does partly consist of some stones in a circular formation, but it hasn't always looked this way. You see, though these stones standing on Corden's property are indeed prehistoric ones, first arranged into a structure by ancient Britons around 3,000 years ago, they've only been on that particular site and in that particular arrangement since 1788. Before then, they were instead part of a circular dolmen-type tomb covered with earth, not a classic exposed stone circle like this one. And this is the point in the story where things get both better and worse, depending on how you look at it. On the one hand, it feels slightly less aggravating to think about the construction of a luxury pool house harming a stone monument that is, at least in one sense, only 200 years old, compared to one like Duddo, which has been standing on the same spot for around 4,000 years. But it does beg the question, where did the ancient stones of the Druid's Temple used to stand, and how did they end up in James Corden's garden? And the answer, of course, is that slightly stomach-turning old chestnut. The Victorians found them and shipped them back to Britain. Hooray. Yes, it's true, the Druid's Temple stone circle in Henley-on-Thames is not a Druid's Temple, a stone circle, from Henley-on-Thames, or even from England. You see, the monument was first discovered during the construction of a parade ground at Fort Regent on the self-governing Channel Island of Jersey. Its original name was the MONT de la Ville, and though there are many other similar dolmens or passage graves throughout the Channel Islands, this one had the unique privilege of being dug out of the ground by workmen and presented as a gift to the Governor of Jersey, Field Marshal Henry Seymour Conway. The Governor promptly had the stones sent across the Channel to England, where they were re-erected in an unsympathetic stone circle arrangement with cement on his private estate at Temple Combe House. Because every good English country garden needs an ancient Jersey dolmen, right? In the years since, there have been multiple demands for repatriation of the stones, and while I can't speak for the previous owners of the house, Corden, credit where it's due, has said he will gladly return them if it's deemed physically possible to do so by experts. A spokesperson for the Cordens said earlier this year, "The stones are Grade 2 listed. The family has no say over what happens to them and would be happy to assist in any way." Some cynics might say, though, that the Corden family's willingness to help is less about the repatriation of Jersey's cultural heritage and more about clearing the way for that luxury pool house. You see, in the end, their designs for the leisure area were actually removed from the planning application when English Heritage deemed the proposed building to be too close to the listed monument. So while there are still some serious questions to be answered about whether repatriation to Jersey will ever be viable, we can at least rest easy knowing that the poorly rearranged stones of the MONT de la Ville are safe from pool house related damage in the meantime, thanks in part to their listed status. And once again, to give him his dues, Corden has said he would welcome heritage groups who want to come and examine the stones and create 3D models of them. It's thought that back in Jersey, it might be possible to construct a virtual tour of the original dolmen as it once looked. Could be one for my 40th birthday, couldn't it? I've been Peter Austin, and that was the last This Is Interesting of 2025. And I'd just like to take the chance, by the way, to thank everyone who's supported me in any way over the past 6-7 months, particularly those who've donated to me on Ko-fi. If you didn't know, you can support the channel financially if you enjoy what I do and you'd like to leave me a tip by going to ko-fi.com/thatpeteраustin. Thank you to everyone who's either tipped or even signed up for monthly support over there this year. But also thanks to anyone who supported me in any other way, as I say, whether you've watched, subscribed, shared the videos, hyped. Yeah, thank you, and I will see you in 2026.